Hey guys, so I don't know if you can see this, but I wanted to briefly make a video about grappling hook concept built out of Legos. Initially, after seeing Tom Stanton's video, where he made a rotational trebuchet, I guess, trebuchet that stores energy in a rotating object, and then when triggered releases the projectile by essentially increasing the distance from the center of the mass, releasing the energy stored into the projectile. So I thought, oh, that's really cool, and that perhaps could be used to make a working, reusable, rotational, I guess, grappling hook concept. And after many prototypes, basically this is it. So the idea behind it and the main challenge was that I wanted to make it work purely mechanically and without having additional buttons or inputs or anything like that, aside from one handle that you use both to launch the mechanism and to pull back the projectile. And in order to achieve that, there had to be quite a few challenges to be overcome, and I'll briefly run down a few of the more interesting parts. So one of them is this whole circuit, you could call it. And what it does is that basically if you rotate in one direction, it rotates in the direction that you rotated in, but when you rotate it, let's say forward, it first moves to the right and then rotates like that. And when you rotate it in the opposite direction, it moves like that and then rotates in this way. So that's one thing. The other part is that I needed it to release this, let's call it forearm, at a correct moment. And in order to do that, I need the system to essentially determine when it has reached the required velocity. And the way to do that, I chose to use this sort of, centripetal force mechanism. So basically it's just when it reaches sufficient velocity, the centripetal force increases to a certain threshold, and this part it extends. When it extends, it connects with the base of the whole system, and when it connects, it has to move, and when it moves, it releases this trigger, and this, let's call it forearm, is free to move, right? And the third major sort of hurdle is that I need the spool that keeps this projectile in place to release, to become, to get to a free spin when this forearm is at sort of maximum angle of power, oh, close to it. And as you can see, what happens is that it's engaged, and when it reaches here, it becomes completely free and stays free up until it gets again to a certain point when I'm trying to lock it, and then it comes back in. And then, yeah, I pull it back and it works. Of course, there's quite a few more nuances and little parts that have to work in order for the whole system to work. Anyways, here it is, here it goes. I mean, it's not exactly a grappling hook because there is no real grapple, it's more of a just projectile launching and pulling back mechanism, but the overall concept, I guess, is sort of showcased in this whole thing. I really enjoyed building this. There were so many prototypes that I built that sometimes worked, sometimes didn't, sometimes worked to some extent, sometimes would get stuck. But this seems quite foolproof, mostly using just normal default Lego parts. I'm using a couple of springs just because I ran out of these suspension thingies. But I don't know, let me know if you like it, if you have ideas of how it could be built better, if you'd like to see more. And I was thinking of building like a electric version of it with servos and stuff like that, so it could launch a lot further and have a lot more force both in the launching and the pulling back. Anyways, I have a lot of footage with regard to this, so if you would like to see more, I'd love to share it. If you like the video, please like it. I really appreciate it, and it shows that, you know, there is interest in this kind of stuff. I just really love building things, and this is sort of one of the first videos I ever decided to share with regard to that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, cheers, have a wonderful day, see ya.